well. All right. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us for the very first podcast I'm starting over here as a live broadcast. So we'll see how that works out. Can't edit anything over here, so we'll see how that kind of works. But usually I didn't really edit very much of the last two that we did over here. I pretty much just took the very ending and then the very beginning off, so then you wouldn't hear it. But all the rest of it just kept in, so.
They were good.
Yep. So we're going to be talking about some nostalgia. For those of you that don't know, I was talking, I think, to my wife today, and it's a newer word that people are using a lot more on the internet here recently, where it's just kind of like, okay, just kind of displaying remembrance, and kind of you have a lot of feelings tied to certain things like smell, certain food, shows, and kind of remembers, like the remembrance of them. It kind of brings in feelings. I find that it usually gives you like feelings of like, like childhood, like this is my childhood, and those happy feelings that you get, So there's so many of them, especially with the 90s. The 90s gave us, I think the best ones. Like I was born in 95. You were born when?
4.
So you're 94, and then you're
97.
97. So we got the very ending.
Little baby over here.
Yeah. Right. So we got the very ending, the fallout per se of the 90s. So that's why I'm doing the 90s and kind of the early 2000s over here. So that's right when all the booming came in with the internet and all that kind of good stuff. So we got in probably the best time frame, I think. We didn't have phones for a long time there for a little bit. So we know what it's like not to have a phone. Do you remember like what it was like when you were going out and you didn't have a phone?
Yeah.
Or like maybe I remember my mom would have one of those little flip phones.
Yeah. And you have to go borrow mom's phone.
And then you're like, yeah, and she's like, check in every this and that time, and so I would go outside. Pretty much me and my brothers would go outside all freaking day, and then just go out there, and then during lunchtime we would call mom and be like, okay, we're still alive, and then we're good to go because you don't want to use all the minutes on the phone.
Well, we didn't get to use the phone. It was, hey, you go outside all day, you do anything stupid, I'm gonna whoop your ass.
Dude, I drug my brothers just like home on certain occasions where it's just like, I think one of my brothers almost broke his tailbone.
It's because one of your brothers just wanted to pick fights all the time.
Yeah, well, no, he fell off a bike and he just like, boom. I was like, oh, darn. He was just sitting there. I'm like, he's crippled, I'm like, what do you do with this? Like, he's just a little ways away from the house and you're just sitting there like,
Helps, you trying to get it back.
I had to be the oldest child over here too, so
what do I do?
I had to be the eldest, so it's always fun with that because you're over there like, I'm responsible. I gotta get the story straight. Okay, so what happened?
I don't care if it's broken or not. You're gonna get up and act like it's fine. I'm not going down for this.
Yeah, so we had a whole bunch of fun times. But I remember a time without a phone, and I think that's something that a lot of the newer generation.
Yeah, they're not gonna
remember. They're not gonna know how to not have a phone.
Well, for me, that plays in more with computers because like I always remember having a computer.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember there ever not being a time I didn't have a computer. I didn't get a phone though until I was like 16.
My parents were like, my parents were like, you pay for it, you have it. I'm like, okay. So as soon as I got a job, and then as soon as I needed one, I actually had a job for I think a year before I even got a phone. I just used the iPod that I was given, so it wasn't like I even bought the iPod.
Yeah,
started with the iPod, and then just went on with that one over there, and Samsung all the way.
Boo.
Yeah, no.
I'm Android. I'm not necessarily Samsung, but
I like Samsung because you just get.
I don't know if I belong in this podcast.
Yeah, no, but this guy, this is Apple.
Hey man, come on.
Hey, no, I have a Mac. I have a MacBook.
There we go.
So that works out too. So I like MacBooks. They do really good with editing and stuff like that. So like I wish they had something like the equivalent of iMovie for a MacBook.
They had. Oh, okay. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, because like you have a whole bunch of stuff like Final Cut Pro and stuff like that you can use, but they charge so crazy amount of money for it, and it's just like, ugh.
Well, that's the thing because like the hardware for Apple isn't usually anything that great. I mean, it's fine, it's not bad or anything, but it's their programs and how efficiently everything runs is why people like it.
Yep.
And it has a really good program.
They just run, and like when you have to set up a printer, it's like click, set up, add printer.
Yes. It's the easiest, dude.
So yeah, but there's some things back in the 90s and in the early 2000s that I can recall, I remember a lot of TV shows. We watched a lot of TV growing up because we didn't have very much because my parents were kind of they had just enough to kind of make it by while we were going out, but that was just it. That was it after that, and so it was like you just had to make up time. So we did a lot of stuff that was just more on the free side, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So you go to the library, you go pick up some movies from the library, you bring them back home. Did you ever do that?
Yeah, dude. I had the best library ever. There's just one down in Waxahachie area. I don't remember what it is, but it's this huge old library. It's probably like I'm not even gonna say because I'm really bad at estimating dates, but it's an old, huge library. It's got tons of books. It was just enormous and it was beautiful. I mean, I've never seen a library like it. But then I moved up in this area about 10 years ago, and with the library, I'm like, what the crap is this?
Yeah.
Like this is like the little junk bookstore. Where's my library?
Right. We had the Keller Public Library when I was growing up, and the Keller Public Library was like, it was really awesome. It had a nice park, but like they allowed you to get 2 movies that you can rent out at a time. And so we're just like, you know, I had 2 brothers too. So it's like, that's 6 movies all combined, you know? And so we just, you know, watched movies all the time. So it was like, you know, oh, let's go to, we made like a weekly thing, you know, like, oh, okay, like every Friday we go out there.
Let's go make movies.
We had a chess club that we did over in the Keller Public Library.
So dirty, goddamn.
No. Okay, chess club was awesome. Okay, I love the chess club. Okay, but there was some nerdy people over there. There were some people that we were playing with that was just like, okay, you're real old now. Like, we were young, you know, and they were still playing with us, and they're, you know, and they'll pop out their Pokemon cards and all that kind of stuff. And so, did y'all ever get on that Pokemon train? No. A little bit? I got on it late. I got on it, like, afterwards a little bit.
Got on it like
last
first
year.
and second grade.
Yeah.
Got whooped for doing it.
Oh, yeah.
No, it wasn't allowed. But, you know, when you go to school, be like, I'll trade you this for this.
Yep.
So I got a deck. I don't think I knew what to do with it. It was just, that was the thing to do, so you did it.
You follower.
The only thing I ever did was go back and play the...
I was trying to be a cool kid. So.
The Game Boy emulated games, which were actually decent.
The Game Boy, in comparison, like, of Pokemon in general.
Best.
Okay, so
I remember.
I have gone back and tried to play it, and I just don't get it. Like, it's not fun.
I'm not saying it's my favorite game. I'm just saying that's the only thing I've done. I don't know if I even finished the game. I'm really bad.
Well, see, it was different in the time when I started playing it, though. I started playing it with the old Game Boy SP, like the little square-looking one.
Yep.
But I played it, and like everyone on the whole entire block played it. And so we could connect with our cables, we could fight battles and stuff like that. No, so you can't do that anymore with them. But like I remember that time, like we got these like gay cables going out, like, you know, we're all just huddled over there, you know. Yeah, and then we were the cool ones. My dad was always up to speed with all the different technology that we had. So we had wireless connection. We had this little thing. It had a little antenna that popped out, and you could wirelessly connect Game Boys to each other. And that was it. You know, when I showed up with one of those on the block, it was just like, what is this? You know, because everyone was all just doing the weird connecting cables, and those cables would go out, like they would unplug, and you're like, oh no, my battle's gone. You know, all that kind of stuff. I remember when the PS1 first came out. I remember getting it. Oh,
really? You had the PS1?
I had the PS1.
You never hear anybody talk about the PS1. It's PS2 and up.
Okay, so, but like I said, my dad was really up to speed with all the technology he had. So he had this little thing that he plugged into the back end of it. I still don't know what it was to this day. It's like, I don't know what it was, but it was a hack. He hacked our PS1, okay? But we could play games, any game that was copied. So we go to Blockbuster, get all the games at Blockbuster, copy them on his copy, like his computer, and then we had a stack of all the video games, every single PS1 video game that we wanted to play. And we just...
Oh, that's funny.
And so, we played the hell out of those games.
You said Blockbuster, dude.
Blockbuster.
Most people aren't going to ever remember
Blockbuster.
what Blockbuster was.
Talking about 90s.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, or going to Blockbuster was like really splurging. It's like, you get to go pick your movie, the new movie.
Yep.
Like, yeah, and then, I mean, you always were just going in there just like, whoa, there's so much potential over here, especially with the video game stuff, because I was just like, there's so many video games. You know, it's like, that was unheard of over there.
By the time I got into video games, Blockbuster already mostly closed down, so I kind of...
Yeah. They had
Kind of
Blockbuster,
routes.
and then there's also Hollywood Video. If you're like in a really poor neighborhood, usually it wasn't on Blockbuster, it was Hollywood Video.
There's like used videos, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
so it was like
gosh.
the leftovers of Blockbuster.
Dude, those places were sketchy.
Oh yeah, no, it was just like they had cigarette burns on the VHSs over there. I still can't believe that we had those VHS tapes over there, and you would have to rewind them every time you watch them. And
I'm surprised
then,
there's many out there like renting that actually work because people are treat everything as trash. You know?
Oh yeah, no, but no one ever rewound those things. I was always like the more responsible one. I was like, click rewind. If I'm gonna watch it, I'm gonna rewind it.
Yeah, it's all of them.
My brothers, on the other hand, always kept all of our VHSs all the way at the very end, and so it's just like,
I remember that. You had to rewind it.
And the best part was we didn't have any DVRs or anything like that. So like if you wanted to watch something, you actually had to watch it at the time that it was showing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like you had to go purposefully go, and you're like, I'm gonna miss my show if I don't make it home.
Yeah.
I'm gonna miss my show, and so like I said before, my dad was up to speed with things. He would get us the little VHS thing. We can record anything that we wanted over there. So we would record cartoons and stuff on there, and like early cartoons, so we wouldn't have to wake up.
Yeah, no,
you know?
I remember that we were going on a trip or something when I was little. There was some sort of cartoon I wanted. I remember our babysitter had some sort of VHS recorder at that point. We didn't have it, and so she's like, "Well, I'll record it for you." And then she like gave it back, and it was like the best thing at the time, because you were like, "Dang, I can't."
Yeah, no.
What is this? It's live TV at disposal.
I know, it's like, what? I can have this, and then the coolest part is, yeah, I know, right? It's like you'll never understand, like, you still had to record it, so it still had to be playing, and it would have to record.
You still had to be on top of it.
Yeah, but then you can watch it, but then you would have a whole bunch of stacks of VHS tapes.
Or the commercials, which I have to say, some of the commercials were the best part. 90's commercials were good.
90's commercials were weird.
They were. But they were really funny, a lot of them.
They weren't trying to like not hurt people's feelings either. So what was one of your favorite like remembering commercial wise?
What I actually remember the most is we taped this Rudolph special, the claymation one.
Yeah.
We taped it, and it must have been around the 90s because there was a Sprite commercial that had the Game Boy that was advertising. And dude, that one just stuck with me. I mean, and there was nothing that unique or crazy about it, but it's just like, that's my commercial, man.
Yeah, right. I remember getting into that stuff. I remember getting into the Game Boy for the first time too, and I was just like, I had a PS1. You had to sit there on the TV, and everyone had to complain about you being on the TV at the same time, because at that time you couldn't go just watch anything from just your phone. So everyone had that once, and then my parents only had one TV in the house. That was kind of the rule, So like we had the one TV. It was a tube TV at that, so you didn't have anything fancy.
Yeah.
And then you all just play into that one TV. So it's like, hey, I'm watching TV, or hey, I'm going to be doing this.
Yeah, there's no sharing.
Yeah. So it was kind of fun. And then having two brothers that are younger than me over there, and then just it could get kind of fun.
It's my turn.
Yeah. So it was always multiplayer games. Always multiplayer games.
Yep.
So and then it was fun. And then the GameCube came out. I remember when the GameCube came out, it changed things because you could play with four people a lot, and so it was just like, wow, and it was all games that you could play.
Most of their games were centered around multiplayer. The only ones that weren't were like Super Mario Adventures or All-Star, whatever it was, stuff like that.
What was the Legends of Zelda?
Yeah, that one wasn't multiplayer, but a lot of the Mario Karts and Mario Party. And
I remember playing Super Nintendo 64. I never owned a Super Nintendo 64, but all my friends kind of did. So like when we would hang out at people's houses, that was like the thing to do. Like you cracked open the Nintendo 64. You played like Mario Kart. I remember playing Mario Kart when I was like 6 or 7, and then like Star Fox.
Yeah,
Star Fox.
Now, I didn't actually get an N64, but I had a friend, his older brother, found emulator for Project 64, and so it like came with a lot of the different games. So I had like Super Smash Brothers, Mario Kart, Zelda, your basics.
Yep.
And dude, it was like the best thing ever.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, I remember all that. That was like, it was awesomeness. And then it seemed like at the time they didn't give two shits about, like, they really didn't care coloring wise, what they put in our foods.
Gosh.
Like food wise, like they were feeding us crap back then, like, or at least trying to. They were just like, "Hey, it's colorful, kids," you know.
Right.
Like, did y'all ever see like that poster I have right over here? That
The baby bottles?
No, those aren't baby bottles.
What are they?
That's Heinz ketchup. Okay.
That's ketchup.
That's ketchup.
That's colored
That's
ketchup?
colored ketchup.
I
Okay.
missed that part of the night.
No,
I
okay.
missed that part too.
I remember when that came out. We had some blue ketchup. Okay.
Oh, holy crap.
They even had
no.
what was it? PBS. They had all the showings over there, and they always had this commercial going on for this place called the Purple Cow.
Yeah, the purple cow.
Yeah.
Cow, I remember that.
But,
sounds really
but they had
familiar.
purple ketchup over there. They had, you know, where it was
Purple ketchup, no.
yeah, no, but it was so weird, and you could taste the food coloring. So, like, you know, like, red dye number 2, you know?
It's like when you eat those really heavily frosted cupcakes or whatever from like a just Costco or something.
Yeah.
That's just like, piled on there, and you're just eating. You're like, I'm gonna feel this for a week.
Yeah, no, it's just like, ooh. And, yeah, they fed us a lot of weird stuff. It was just like, it was the time of just experimenting with seeing how your intestines can turn blue, I guess, or something. I don't know. It was like, I think they got something in the FDA was like, hey, this color dye is good, you know,
Right.
and you're good to go.
The FDA has made some changes.
So they're over there like, wait a second, that's cancer causing. We're not going to say it's ever cancer causing, but hopefully you didn't eat too much of it. And then the
Fingers
candy.
crossed.
The candy they had back then, too, seemed to be a lot better. Like, I don't know. Maybe I was just a kid, and it was just like, candy was just, like, awesome. Like,
Yeah, because
you know?
that's the thing. I don't like candy as much anymore.
Yeah, no, it's
Like,
like...
Yeah, it's not such a big thing anymore.
No, but, like, Wonka had it going, man. Wonka had the nerds. They had,
Nerds and airheads.
yeah,
Nerds are the best.
Oh. They had the nerds rope. They had,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Where it's
Yes,
like
the rope.
Twizzlers and nerds
Yeah.
at the same time.
Yeah.
Combined. It's really
Yeah,
good.
it's so
man.
good.
It doesn't sound good. I'm not saying it's not. It's just Twizzlers and nerds.
Oh, it was dope, man.
It was pretty cool, and then you can like snap off like some of it and be like, okay, half and half. So like, you know,
Yeah.
sharing. It's like the Kit Kat before the Kit Kat.
yeah,
Actually, Kit Kats were probably around, but you know they made that whole big deal about them splitting Kit Kat now. So.
Yeah, I think as a kid, the candy was all like now for me. It's like a Reese's or a Snickers, but back then it was anything. The more coloring it had in it,
yeah.
the more attracted to it you were.
I always like those like ring pops.
Oh, the ring pops, yes.
yeah. Like you just stuck on that all day, you know.
Your lips turn blue.
Yeah, and you're just like, you know. And then now looking at them, like, just oh my god, that's ridiculous. But at that time, it was like, yes, you know.
Yep.
And then they had I think the ring pop came out with another one that was like a little baby looking bottle.
Yeah.
And they had pixie
That's what I
dust
thought that
underneath.
was.
Yeah, they had pixie dust underneath it, where you could like dip it into the pixie dust.
So the top of the bottle was like a ring
It's like
pop.
a ring
where
pop,
it was just like a hard suck or whatever, and you get away. It's like the dipping stick.
Yep.
This is what it basically became.
Pretty much, yeah.
It was.
It was sour.
It was sour, but it was nasty.
It was.
See, I feel like they could do that. Like you could do that stuff back then, and if they were to come out with that candy, like nowadays, everyone would be
No way.
we'd make so many perverted jokes over it. Like
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
a kid
yeah.
would be made so much fun of if they were to take that to school.
Yeah, no kidding. It's just like there was a sense of like you just didn't know as much at that time either.
Well, you didn't have access to the internet and such
Like
Yeah,
you
wide variety, but now
you
everyone.
weren't so exposed to everything just like that. You know, you didn't have like where you just go on the internet. Like I remember when we had dial-up.
Mhm.
Like we didn't have. I mean, I didn't have dial-up for very long because my dad was up to speed.
Yeah.
So he had he got off dial-up as quickly as he could because my mom liked to be on the phone. When we were wanting to be, doing dial-up stuff, I'm like, it was just a conflict there too. So it's like we're not having our own line just for the DSL line, So it was like we got shared lines,
Yeah.
But I remember going on like websites. Like I remember playing video games online. I remember the first time figuring that out. I remember figuring out that you could play games online, like with Flash and stuff, and I was just like, "Oh, this is so cool!"
I remember the first online game that I played.
I remember I went to VeggieTales, I think.
Uh-huh.
I think because they had
VeggieTales was
Yeah.
90s for sure.
big time, but
Yeah.
they had like a ton of video games. Like their whole site had a whole bunch of like little games that you could play, And so we would just sit there and play them like all day. And they're cheesy as crap if you think about it now. You're like, oh Lord, no, But like, that's what we played. We didn't have apps or anything like that. So
yeah, now kids, they've got like, you see these 3-year-olds walking around with like tablets and they're just zoned in. I mean, they're it's gonna be interesting to see how they grow up. Like, being so immersed in technology from the beginning, how are they going to deal with real life when they actually have to sit down and go to college, or when they have to sit down and do a job and disconnect from technology a little bit?
And I think that's the problem too, is why we have so much, like, they call it ADD, but I'm like, that's kind of what you're raising too in this situation. And in this kind of day and age, you are setting yourself up to be ADD because that's just what it is. You like instant, just pictures.
Yeah, instant gratification. We're not a culture that waits for anything anymore.
No, and so, but back then it was just like, it was nice. It was chill. It was a little bit more chill. It was like right before the boom,
Yeah. It's kind of also the 90s were a little bit quieter politically. It was kind of after the Cold War had mostly wrapped up. It was before 9/11 had happened, the terrorist attack. So it was kind of it was just more mellow time.
Mm-hmm. And then I guess that we were kids too at the time too, so just like no care in the world, it was getting to the point where it was going to be bad, but I guess I just never even knew anything about it. I was just like, whatever,
Yeah. Do y'all remember when 9/11 happened?
I do.
Yep.
I remember when 9/11 happened. I remember my dad called my mom and told her to turn on the TV. Mm-hmm. And so she turned on the TV, and I was just like, what's this? And she's like, and then she was just on the phone with my dad, just like speechless type thing. I was over there thinking, it's fake or something, And then I remember seeing the second one hit over there on live TV, and I was like, that's not right. And then my mom started, praying about it and whatnot, and I was just like, okay, this just happened. And then it stuck in my head because, everyone's like, oh, remember 9/11, remember 9/11. I remember that date rather well now because I was just like, oh yeah, I remember where I was on that time.
But I remember it, like, it didn't really mean anything to me. Because, like, I remember being in class and my teacher, someone knocked on the door, she went to the door, and then she came back, got on the computer, and pulled it up. And, like, we all sat there and watched it. We watched the second jet hit, but none of us, like, it didn't dawn on us, this is a terrorist attack or anything. It's like, okay.
Building, plane,
it's
no.
a big old fire.
It's like what I drew last week.
And then, like, and when you get home, and, like, I remember my mom saying, then I was like, okay. But, like, even nowadays, like, I'm sure the teacher wouldn't pull it up in front of especially first graders, and let you watch it. Like, but back then, like, that wasn't a thing. Like, terrorist attacks.
Yeah.
For first graders, I don't think so.
It might get fired.
I think, in this day and age, they get fired. Yeah. Traumatizing their kids.
Right. And then I remember it being, it was more impactful in our life over here because my dad's job, he worked for a company called IP Communications. And apparently they sunk after that, like, because of just all the fallout that happened because of all that. I don't really know how they just financially didn't do very well. So my dad lost his job. So that's how it kind of sunk into my head, like, okay, this just happened.
It's affecting my personal life now.
Yeah, and all I could remember was just like, oh, bad guys did bad stuff. Now my dad doesn't have a job because now that company went bankrupt, And so I was just like, okay. And so it sunk down a little bit deeper over here, especially for our family infrastructure over there too. So that's how I can remember it. But yeah, one of those days. And then, like, I'm kind of upset because there are certain things in the 90s that I completely missed. Like, where I was like, I missed certain things, and I go back to it now. I'm like, hey, that was awesome. What's happening now with these people?
Like music.
Yeah. Like, especially, like, my favorite band is Nirvana. Yeah. I love Nirvana. I love grunge music. I love emo music. All that kind of stuff. And then, like, these people just, like, he dies. Or, it's like, now I can't ever go watch a concert with these people because they're not playing anymore because they've got in a fight. And now you're like, oh, okay, well, I just can listen to your 5 good songs that you have and, never listen to anything else over there. So it's kind of like, I wish I could hear it when it first was hitting, and where everyone was... Yeah, because now you're kind of weird for, like, actually liking that kind of music now, It's like,
Even, like, for country, I know you hate country music, but that was its heyday. The 90s?
Yep.
90s, early 2000s, yeah. Yep. I'm not much of a country fan myself.
Yeah, Garth Brooks, George Strait.
See, I like George Strait. Okay, out of all the country people, I do like George Strait. I don't like very many people, I can't stand them because I don't like the vibes from other stuff, but that's just me personally. But I like George Strait. His music.
I think you just like real country.
Real country, yeah.
And what you've been saying, like, yeah, some of the stuff nowadays is kind of stupid. Like what's called country is redneck, stupid stuff.
Well, there's no such thing as country anymore. Like they have phones.
I disagree.
They have phones.
You're not exactly a cowboy anyway.
Yeah, no, it's just like that day is gone.
If I had to choose someone that was kind of country-esque, it'd probably be Johnny Cash.
Yeah, most definitely. I like
country-esque. He was country all the way.
Yeah, and some of his stuff wasn't as much. I mean, if you go back and listen to like Herd or God's Gonna Cut You Down or something like that,
that was still country.
I'm not saying it's not country. I'm just saying it's not what you think of as country anymore. It's been so pushed forward with all the other stuff.
No, I think. Like that would be considered, if I was to pull out like a vintage country, song would probably be on there.
Well, in that case, then I like vintage country.
But
I also like vintage rock, so I mean, if we're going to go that way, it's vintage. So.
Yeah, but I think country and rock sometimes intertwine.
They do.
They absolutely do.
They do. That's why I like grunge music. It's kind of like a little bit of both. It's like I got a little bit of both of that in there, you know. And that time period didn't go for very long. It went for like 7 years, 6 years. Now you can't find any good music. You have to listen to old stuff, you know. I like Nirvana. I like Pearl Jam. If you ever listen to any of their stuff over there, I like Pearl Jam a lot. But all their new stuff is like
I have to write this stuff down because I don't listen to grunge music.
Yeah, no, you gotta hit some. I'll give you some over there. I love music, so it's just like But then
they do make some good music now, but I don't know. It's for me. Maybe it's because they make so much more music because it's so easy for anyone to get into the industry, so it's just harder to sift through.
Yeah, you can't find anything anymore. Like it's not as.
It's just hit and miss. It's just a random song I'll come across. I'm like, oh, I like that one.
Yeah,
save it. I'm like, yes, I found one.
Yeah, you're not going and following. I'm not like following bands or anything like that.
Not typically. There's a few exceptions. There's some people that I'll go follow, but it's rare band.
Yeah, it's just not. It's not the same though. It's not like you have to listen to them. Like even that, you would have to listen to them on the radio or buy their album, the whole album, and then you would have to,
Or I mean, people get Spotify and
now it's just like pick and choose, pop.
I'm surprised they even make albums anymore.
Yeah, like do they really get enough sales off of that?
Yeah, that's what I wonder. Or is that more for their benefit to sing maybe songs that they normally wouldn't get to sing?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, I would just make a whole bunch of singles, man.
Because, like, to be honest, sometimes I'll get an album and I'll listen to a song on it and like, you know what? I like that song. But, you'd never hear it because they only play, like, their 2 top songs.
Right. And that's the thing, too, is, like, I always wonder, like, certain artists, they seem to just kind of, like, they do fillers or something, like, where it's just like...
It's just kind of, okay, song.
Yeah, it's just like, this is nothing in comparison to every other song that you've been making. And it's like, we're just listening for this one song.
It makes me think of Imagine Dragons, if you listen much to their stuff. Some of their stuff I like, and then some of it's just like, what? Yeah, maybe that's just me, but...
It's like experiment music. It's like they experiment so much with so much stuff, it's just like, I don't know what...
But I feel like they know whether something's going to be accepted by the crowd because like you can tell what their popular songs are going to be because they release them as singles.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then it's like they throw all the other songs in the album.
Here's some other songs that we made too.
Yeah.
Here's some fillers for like if you need like just to listen to this.
It could be either that they just want to get their songs out there like, well, I liked the song and I just want it out there and some people buy the albums, or it could be that they can charge more for an album, so even if the album's crap and you're only buying it for 2 songs, they'd still get more from that than you just buy the 2 singles.
Right. Oh, yeah, one of the things, back in the day, the 90s and 2000s, free music. Pretty much when they started with the internet coming out, they had, Jesus, what is the name of that website now I'm thinking of? But they had, it got shut down because of all the copyright and they got all mad and all that kind of stuff.
MP3 Skull or whatever?
It's something like that where it was a big thing.
Like the kind of the start to Pirate Bay type stuff?
Yeah, it's like the very start of media sharing. And people would like share music and stuff like that. And my dad was on top of that too, where he would just bring back a whole bunch and he had the 8 tracks and stuff like that, and like he had anything we wanted. So pretty much he was burning MP3s when the MP3s first came out, you know. And then he had an MP3 player in our minivan that he put in place over there, so then we could play the MP3 player, you know. It's like, oh, okay, you know, and you just burn the disc right in this burner, you know.
Do people even use MP3 players anymore?
I don't think so.
I mean, I see them. They're still. You still see them at like Walmart or something. They're like cheap now. They're like
it should be
$15 or something maybe.
But remember when they were like, you know, they were expensive. They were like, oh man, they're expensive, you know.
And then iPods came and thrown them.
Did y'all ever experience anything below Windows XP? Like Windows 95 and Windows ME?
Windows 95 and 98 both, and DOS actually.
Oh, no.
DOS was fun.
Yeah.
I had some of the best games on that old DOS beast. Oh my gosh, it was so sad.
See, you taught me on that one because I think the oldest game I've ever played is Myst. And I like that game. My dad had that game, and it was kind of spooky and puzzle game back in the day. But that was probably the oldest game that I have played in that time frame.
I don't have a clue which was the oldest, but I had stuff like Commander Keen, Dangerous Dave, Duke Nukem. I mean,
hey, I know Duke Nukem. I know the name because they kept the franchise.
These were classic, awesome games. You can find them online free now. There's just like a website for like all the old DOS games, and I've gone back and played some of them. They're still hard. They still beat my butt. But
why did it seem like games nowadays, like they're amazing, yes,
graphically
you can beat them. Like back in the day, you didn't beat games. Like they had stuff in there that like it just kept going and kept going and kept going.
Like
it's just like
states. What's a save state?
It's never gonna end. And they're so big, like they're so small of games, like size wise.
Yeah.
Like 200, you know, even gigs.
Well, I think that was the point. It was so small, so they had to make a game that it was almost unbeatable.
Yeah.
So that way you keep playing it, because if you could beat it, then...
Yeah, because I mean, if it's only got 10 levels to the game, that's like one of the games I was talking about, Dangerous Dave. It's only 10 levels to the game. Each one's progressively harder and harder. So you usually beat like the first 3 levels, maybe 4 levels, and the next level you die once, then the next level you die once, and then you're dead, and then you're like, oh boy.
Exactly. And I think the thing too is like I think game developers are getting sloppy in their work. I think back in the day you would have to have an idea, figure out how to make the idea, and then figure out how to compress the living crap out of it so then it could actually fit on someone's hard drive.
Yeah, you know? Wasn't it some computer guy, like, I think it was Bill Gates, I could be wrong, but he's like, we'll never need more than 512 megabytes for storage, and now we've got like petabytes.
And it's crazy because like I can just carry like a terabyte in my pocket.
Yep.
You know?
I mean, I got a 3 terabyte that's about that big that
I'm recording this on a terabyte hard drive that's like just a little, like you can fit in my back pocket. It's just like a little wallet, you know? It's crazy.
It's smaller than my wallet anyway.
You know? And like back in the day, like you couldn't put that much, like you put like what 10 songs on a little SD card.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember those days.
Yeah.
After that, my phone. That's what I did. I never had like an MP3, but I would get the SD card and put it in my phone.
Yep.
My first phones, those old flips.
Oh yeah.
I had a headphone jack.
Yep.
And I could either listen to like FM radio, or I could play off the SD card.
Like I don't even touch my radio anymore nowadays. It seems like it's like if my Bluetooth is like out or my aux jack is out, then I'll be like, oh, okay, I'll turn on my radio. But like, I don't ever listen to radio, man.
I do.
I pretty much don't, except like
probably half and half. Because there's sometimes it'll be like, I don't want to mess with trying to figure out what I want to listen to. I'm just turn on a station.
Right.
Why?
I don't
shuffle.
I don't like to listen to like Christian radio around over here because of just they turn their bass up so loud that when you try to listen to it, it sounds really, really, really cruddy. So like if ever I have to listen to any Christian music, I'm finding it online or like on Spotify or something.
The only station I listen to as far as Christian music wise is 101.7.
I don't like 94.9 over here now,
No.
but I do like. I like that station.
101.7 is what I would go to probably if I'm going to listen to radio.
What I don't like about most of the Christian radios, not many of them play Christian hip hop. And I don't know if it's just...
Like NF and stuff?
Yeah, NF, Lecrae, a lot, and I feel like there's a very big audience for
They're
those.
like Toby Mac.
And they're not like they'll play Toby Mac, but just a few of his songs. And like I listen to Toby Mac's album, everything.
Dude, did you ever hear the Toby Mac song for Narnia?
No.
It is the weirdest song ever. I have no idea where it came from or why they did it, but there was like this extended album on the end of the first Narnia that they did for a lot of these different people. And Toby Mac did the song, and I looked it up one day, and I listened to it, and I'm just like, what crap is this? Oh my gosh, it's so weird.
Is it bad?
It's kind of one of the songs you have to hear. It's just
Right.
like, I don't know how to describe it. I don't know where to start. Oh, man. Toby Mac's.
He's still going at it, man.
He's still going on it. He's like 40. He's got to be close to 50 now.
Yeah, I mean,
Isn't he kind of gray? I think, maybe.
Is he what?
Kind of gray. Maybe. I don't
I
know.
don't know. He wears a hat all the time now.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah, you
Maybe
can't
he's
see.
bald.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
But no, I mean, I remember listening to Toby Mac stuff. I remember
Yeah.
first listening to it too, being like, "Oh, this is awesome!" Like,
That was like what kind of I started with that. And
Yeah,
Mark
me too.
Schultz. I don't know. Either y'all probably heard of Mark Schultz. He was kind of, I think he was smaller, but I just got into some of his stuff. I was like, oh yeah, I like this guy. And then I heard Toby Mac's like, oh yeah, I like this too.
Of course, can't go wrong with casting crowns.
Yeah,
you
sure.
know. So like, they had casting crowns, and then like they kind of turned me on to rock and roll music. There's some Christian bands that turned me more on rock and roll music, like Skillet and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Toby Mac is 54 years old.
calling Skillet a Christian band is kind of like
Yeah, well, I mean,
Yeah.
like I would
with
listen
that.
to Pandora, and Pandora would put them on,
Hey,
and then I'd be like,
I'm
hey,
not
you
hating
know.
on Skillet. I like Skillet. I'm
Yeah.
just saying. It's like Icon for Hire. You probably haven't listened to them, but they call themselves a Christian band. But you listen to their stuff, and they're not Christian, which is fine. I still like their stuff.
Right.
But it's just people kind of
Really,
very loosely use
They're
it.
trying to
Yeah.
probably ride the wave of being like,
Yeah.
hey, we're Christian, you know.
Like, well, we're Christian, or at least we claim to be Christian.
Yeah.
We're not going to really do Christian songs, but we'll put it on your Christian radio.
Yeah, exactly. So, or like, I think I remember back in the day they would play Lifehouse, a couple of Lifehouse songs, and try to pass them off as being more Christian.
Yeah,
And I'm like, you could be talking to a girl or you can be talking to the God, and it's like, there's a fine line here. You're like, you know, I love you, and then I'm like, wait a second, who is it? God? Yes, maybe a girl. What? You know?
You know, somebody working with that. He's a loving guy.
Yeah. So it was funny how they did that, and they kind of tried to pass the Ruth that over there. But did y'all ever watch any of the Rugrats or anything from Nickelodeon?
No.
No, I didn't ever do the Nickelodeon
Yeah.
reel. I did more like the old cartoons, like the Wile E. Cody and stuff like that.
Like Looney
Looney
Tunes.
Tunes.
Yeah, Looney Tunes.
Yeah,
Looney
yeah,
Tunes
yeah.
was-
Tom and Jerry.
Yep, Tom and Jerry definitely.
Mhm.
Those were my go-to for cartoons usually.
Oh yeah.
Or then I do some of the newer stuff like I don't know. There'd just be like little TV series on it and stuff I would watch,
Right.
but nothing that mainstream.
PBS.
And then
Yeah,
you-
PBS.
Oh,
Dragon
PBS
Tales,
PBS
Arthur.
was the shit. Okay, like
Yeah.
when we had that was just like, oh yeah, and then like they had like Clifford.
I think from 3 to 6 is when all of those came
they
out.
had just some booming. They had
Clifford, Arthur, Dragon
What's
Tales.
Zoomafoo?
Yeah, Zaboomafu,
Zoom.
Zoom, and then what was the other one? There, the Lion.
Lion Tales?
Oh yeah, Lion Tail.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I haven't thought about that in so long.
I hated Lion Tales. That was more my
It
younger
was
brother.
kind of weird.
I did not
That
like
was my
Lion
younger
Tales.
brother too. But
Wasn't it
like,
puppets? Like
yeah, like a lot of them.
that's what.
But-
Yeah,
But they
yeah.
had.
I'm not a puppet fan.
But I remember, that was the crap. Like I remember like being the homeschooled, person.
Yeah, I know, right?
It was like
Right.
my mom anytime she ever had like some kind of like she might be sick or something. She's like, okay, I can't do school today, or like just go watch something on
Yeah.
PBS.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was like, hey, yeah, and so you
Well,
just watch it.
Did you ever do Magic School Bus?
Oh,
Yeah, no, I talked about that last podcast
Did
over
you?
here
Okay.
too, yeah. And so, yeah, the Magic School Bus, man, that one was pretty good because that one actually taught you a lot of stuff over there, and like it was pretty zany. It was kind of I like the colors that they put on it, and then it's like I'm still finding out. Like I said, like on the last podcast, I'm I still remember stuff, and I'm like, oh, I remember where I came from. I came from the Magic School Bus. You know.
Exactly.
And so, yeah, it was kind of funny. It was kind of funny to have that one.
It's very absorbable.
It was. And then we rocked the Adventures and Odysseys out there for a long time.
Yeah,
Adventures and Odyssey. That was your carry through.
Yeah.
You get up early Saturday, because it played early Saturday morning on the radio.
See, I got spoiled because the Keller Library had all their cassettes. Yeah, and so we could rent them, and we would just play them.
We had some cassettes, and then our church had some cassettes. We'd church that have the little libraries, whenever you can go rent something. We'd do that for a while at one of our old churches. But we actually got several. We went out to Odyssey. We were in Colorado Springs.
I did that too.
And that's how we found it. And we're just like, okay. And then we got them, and we're like, this is great. Now they still make them, and I'm like, it's weird now. Stop.
Right. I would like to someday in the future have my own type of radio drama like that.
That'd be fun.
That would be really, really fun.
Yeah.
I think to have, and then have it more of a community thing. Mm-hmm. Now that everyone has recording stuff and, where they can do their own kind of, just have it where here's a voice script, and you send it right back,
But yeah, because I mean, if you have a 30-minute drama or something, if it's weekly or even bi-weekly or something like that, if you have 6 or 7 characters that are in it, that's maybe 7 or 8 minutes of talking time combined for the different people per person. So, I mean, that's not going to take that long. You sit down, pop on your recording, and... Yeah,
exactly. And so it's just like, you just need, good directions. And, you can be anywhere now. So you can have, everything. You can even centralize it if you want to. Hey, use this program, use this mic, use this, and...
there's a standardized...
Yeah, kind of standardize it so it's not like, you're getting weird audio here and there and all that kind of stuff. But... that would be pretty fun. I think it would. It would be kind of cool to have that where we could have a radio drama like that. But
camera maybe went off. I heard it click.
I think it's just turning off the display. So.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, no, I think that would be kind of fun. But I remember we would listen to every night we would listen to an Adventure in Odyssey before we would go to bed. It was just that was the ritual. You go to bed, pop Adventure in Odyssey on, and my parents were 10 o'clock was bedtime, so we would try to get to bed by 10 o'clock. We would listen to Adventure in Odyssey till 12, 1. And so I've always been late night. We would get it and turn it off right before my parents would go to bed. So then they would hear it right before it went to bed, And so it was...
Sneaky.
Oh yeah, well, like the saying goes, when you have strict parents, you get sneakier kids,
Right.
Some of the stuff I have here from some of my other friends too, it's just they were the sneakiness that goes in. I'm I can't even believe it, But I think the good thing about having more strict parents is you're sneakier, but you're better at not getting caught by, I guess, law enforcement and stuff if you're doing anything illegal.
Yeah. And then you have these noobs going out there I'm going to do something illegal. And then they're
what about this? What about this? What about this? Cover your tracks, man.
Right?
This is sloppy. Yeah. I knew this when I was 10 years old.
10 years old. Yeah. Don't do that because they'll find out.
It's cover your scent,
Yep.
Get the stick out and cover your tracks, It's this is amateur stuff,
Yeah.
You're 20 years old, man.
Yeah, it astounds me how many people are criminals and then they go back and look at their search histories that do these atrocious crimes like school shootings or cannibalism or something like that, and they're researching it. It's ever heard of incognito, first of all, or VPN? I mean, seriously.
Or erasing your browser history, for goodness sakes,
It's just how did you not think this was a bad idea?
It's just, it was funny. It was fun times when you, I kind of liked that whole, I never was really a bad kid. I never did anything bad on purposeful. It was just
or just kind of did what you did.
Yeah, I did what I did, and then sometimes I would, I don't know, I like the sneakiness of it sometimes.
Yeah.
I like to have to be oh, I wonder, but usually it wasn't anything that was dire, if they caught me it was going to be that big of a deal. It would just be oh, yep,
good little jerk, get away with.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then some people I see that, or even some of my brothers was I don't know what you're doing. You're crazy.
Yeah.
So what about toys? What type of 90s toys did you all get into? Collectibles, anything like that?
My brother had a whole bunch of these little Star Wars figurines. Mm-hmm. They had a whole bunch of them. And so we had a whole bunch of those. I was into Batman a lot. Like I love the 1995 Batman the Animated Series was my stuff right there. I mean, like it was that Batman Beyond. Yeah, and so all that kind of combined. So we would have like little Batman figurines and stuff like that. And that stuff goes on for like that stuff is pretty expensive now on like eBay and stuff.
Yeah, I know. I had a bunch of them. I ended up giving them away, and I got back. It's like, no, why'd I do that?
I remember having those, and then I remember having what else did I play with?
Transformers.
I didn't do the Transformers thing.
Transformers?
No. I didn't like them because it just, I don't know. I didn't ever like those
they
over
didn't
there.
usually work that great. Like, you get them mostly back together. It's like, enough.
It's kind of like, I had brothers too, so it's like, I would get them up and working or get it fixed up, and then they would not get it fixed up, and then now it's missing the door, and now it doesn't look right because you can see his head through the door. And it's like, you know, so it's like, I had to take in consideration now having brothers over there too. And like, you know, I tried not to be like stingy with my toys or anything like that too. So it's like, okay, you know, it's kind of like this is our room. So like everything's in it. It's like everybody's, you know, so.
Hot Wheels.
Communism.
Hot Wheels was big for me.
Dude,
and my
Legos,
Okay,
man.
Legos.
Okay.
Legos wins, definitely.
Legos was, oh man. And like, we didn't have too many of them, but like, we found one time, my mom found a good deal on eBay for like a good lot. Mm-hmm. And we got a good lot going, and it was just like, oh, I was actually doing really good with with making Legos for a long time there. Mm-hmm. And then, I remember one time though, I had a friend that we went to his house, and it was one of those friends like it's the parents' friends, and then he was kind of weird, and you know it was that kind of like you know. But he had the Lego set, so it was like okay, he'll shut him up and we go play Legos. Yeah. So we dump all of his Legos on the floor, and like a whole room is just full of Legos. The whole room, like so he was like.
Swimming in Legos, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. But the worst part was I was building up something, and I got one of those like nice sharp ones, and it slit the edge of my knee. But I didn't really realize that it slit my knee because it did it so subtle. And so
you're crawling around bleeding all over his Legos.
I was crawling around bleeding all over the carpet.
Oh no!
And I looked down, and there's just a nice pool in not our house, you know, in someone's white carpet. And I'm just over there just like, oh no. And then I'm like, and then you just look at it like as a kid, like I didn't know I could lose that much blood. Yeah. Okay. In that short amount of time with a short, little bitty cut. I'm a little bit anemic. I take a little bit of iron and stuff and supplement it out now, but back in the day I didn't really understand that I was more anemic, so it was like let the blood flow, you know?
Yeah.
And so I bled all over that person's house, and I just felt so bad. I was just like, I don't even know. My blood's probably still there, you know, unless they ripped out that carpet and put some new carpet up in there because.
Oh, man, they probably had to steam it a couple times too.
Yeah, no, I felt so bad too because it was like it was nothing I could change. There was nothing I could do about
nothing
it.
You did intentionally either.
Yeah, and it was just like, oh well, that happened, you know.
Accidents happen, yeah.
So that was not a good day.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I remember. Let me see, what other toys was it? I wasn't really too big into toys. What was your thing, man?
Well, there was Hot Wheels. My brothers and I, we would race them. We'd set up a ramp.
Yep.
In the house and race them that way. But dude, most of ours was outside.
Yeah,
outside.
We just rocked outside. Like me and my brothers, we
didn't need toys, dude. All you needed was
just get a bike,
water, and mud, man. We had more. We make mud balls and fight with those, and everything we're not supposed to do, we kind of did outside.
One time we had it where our whole entire backyard, over in Keller, we lived near Bear Creek Park, and Bear Creek Park overflows every time we ever have really bad water, and so our backyard would be just one big, just still water, because it would just sit there. It wasn't rushing out, it wasn't pouring out, and so it would have to dry up. I remember one time my brother was like, oh, let's go play out there. And so they went out there and walked across the whole entire up and down and all the way around the backyard. But they left holes and just mud all the way through everywhere, in the whole entire backyard.
I can imagine your dad was less than happy.
Yeah, but then it dried up, and when it dried up, it was just like lumpy. Just lumpy footprints all over the whole entire backyard on the side. And then I think one of my brothers slipped, fell in it, and then started crying because he was young. And And then, that's how they found out that they were playing out in the mud, and he just covered in mud because I think they started throwing mud at each other and stuff. And so I come out there and I'm just like, "What's going on? Why is Daniel covered in mud?" Jonah,
it's gonna fall back on me.
What'd you do this time?
But yeah, no, it was the fun times. And then I remember getting bikes and figuring out how to ride a bike. And I was just like, that was like freedom, I mean, I could just stand on our block, but freedom! Scooters. Oh, yeah, we busted our asses on scooters.
Dude, yeah.
When I was little, I didn't live in a neighborhood. I lived out in the country, and we had, about 50 acres, and it was like this 1,000-foot driveway. And so I didn't know any of my neighbors. I don't know if there was any kids or not. So when we played, it was just us. I mean, that was it. I mean, be careful because, it was wooded and stuff. There was coyotes and stuff around. I mean, you had to kind of be careful. But, yeah, we'd go outside, bikes, we had we got this sand pile. So we had someone that had just a truckload of sand and he just dumped it. And we used that, the heck out of that and stuff like that. And we just get wooden stakes and stuff and use with swords and beat each other.
I went to Scarborough Fair one time as a kid and we picked up these wooden swords. And we ended up painting them and stuff like that.
It usually don't end too well.
And then, yeah, man. Oh, though, did you ever have a lightsaber, though?
No, I missed out on the lightsaber.
Yes, man. The lightsaber was where it was at. We would just beat the living shit out of each other. We didn't need lightsabers,
we take plastic bats.
Okay, I've done the plastic bats.
Tell them, hey, quit doing that.
Yeah, no, I mean, we had one time, there was this big war that happened. So we were playing in the front yard with our lightsabers, me and my two brothers, and then some of the neighborhood kids saw it. So they came over there and they get all their friends. And we had about maybe a 15 or 16 different people in the whole entire block come out, seeing kids playing, and we're just beating the living shit out of each other with these lightsabers. And so we were having a huge lightsaber war, and it was just awesome. And it was just one of those things that was just I was going left, right, just, and I was getting hit in the backside of the head, and I was no, hit in the face, and my nose is all busted up now, and and it was huge. It was huge, and then people started getting all crazy fighting, you hit me in the face,
Yeah. Well, then that's the problem because you don't set any rules for that. And
no.
If you did, nobody.
And you hit, you go back to your house. And you wait there for 40 seconds, and then they're like, I didn't get hit, I'm like, no, you did.
I hit you.
I'm going to leave you a welt
I
next
bit
time I hit you.
my sword on your butt,
My pants, dude, you would see the proof.
And then I remember when the very first pop-out lightsaber came out, where you can push a button and it'll go, psh, and it was spring assisted. The very first day that the rich kid on our block bought one of those and brought it out, he was like, "Oh yeah, check this out!"
Right.
And then he pushed the button, and this girl walked right in the way, and then went boom, hit her right in the eye, right in the eye, black eye, right away.
Oh man!
And so he loved that sword, so he was all out there. He left it outside, and then just all of a sudden one day, it was just busted right in the middle. On the sides, right after that too, and we're just we know who did that, I was just right? No one hated that sword as much as Miss Black Eye over there,
Yeah, no joke. And she had plenty of right to be.
Yeah, no, but I remember beating the living crap out of each other with lightsabers and
we used those PVC swords. That's
why
we did that most.
And then Nerf guns, man.
Okay, Nerf guns.
Nerf guns. We had Nerf gun wars. I remember when the Nerf sword came out, I was just like, that's awesome,
Yeah.
But
those broke fast, though.
They did. And then one time, we had the heavier ones.
Lasted.
Yeah, we had the heavier ones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
My brother threw one of those in our room, threw one of them right as soon as I opened the door, and then it hit me right in the eye. And I was just like, oh, I busted my eye. I was just like, ah, I was so mad at him. So yeah, I was just like, I was surprised actually I still have that eye because that was heavy. And then they busted the sword in such a way where the tip wasn't off, so it was just you know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, where it's the plastic part that's only showing. There's no Nerf on that, so it was just straight plastic to the eye.
If you get hit, you're gonna be spiked.
Yep.
Oh man.
So I remember that one. I remember that was a close call right over there for that one. I was just like, oh. And then we really didn't get into Star Wars for a long time there. My parents were against Star Wars, and so it was kind of like, we were in the Christian realm over here, so it was kind of like, oh yeah, we don't watch that because it had certain things in it. And so I remember when it was coming out, and I remember when it was very big. I remember seeing like a ton of commercials and stuff about it.
Like for the 3 prequels?
Yeah, so it was like they came out with a lot of stuff, and I remember like they just had this ton of different merchandise. They sold as much of that stuff out of there as they possibly could.
My parents were kind of the same way. They kind of didn't like Star Wars, but they were willing to try it. So like they tried the old episode 4. They didn't really like it, so they said, "Oh, y'all can go watch it." And I was really little. When I was little, I had kind of a phobia of like Halloween stuff, and one of those things was skeletons. And so, like the scene where Uncle Mars gets blown to pieces, and you just see a skeleton. I saw that. I'm like, nope, I'm done. And so we didn't get back into it until the first prequel came out, or it was a while after the first prequel came out, but it was on TV, and so we watched it, and then they were like doing all the midichlorian stuff, and we're like, no, I don't think so.
Right.
And so we just jumped off it for a long time, and now we watch it. I don't even know when we started. We're just like, it doesn't matter. Oh man, it's funny.
Yeah, no, it's funny what you like. It's funny the different things that you see now, and you're like, oh, that was funny back then. But back then, it was just like, I did not like that at all. Yeah. I was just like, nope.
Yeah.
It's interesting the different things to me, like kind of our circles accept. Like, they don't really like magic, but they'll accept like Narnia and Lord of the Rings. Like, those are both like kind of across the board. Usually.
Well, see, my parents were kind of a little bit different. My parents were like, they didn't budge on any of that, and so it was more like we were in the Christian realm, and we were in the kind of it's weird to be kind of almost in the rebels to society, but we were the rebels in the rebel society, and so it was kind of like. But the weird part was like
double negative.
Yeah, so like we did not watch TV. So like we knew people that didn't watch TV.
Yeah.
There are people out there that don't watch TV for religious purposes, which kudos to them and whatnot. They don't want their doctrines and stuff coming in and changing people's minds and all that. So, but then we watch other things. I'm just like, I can't distinguish between what was acceptable and what was not half the time.
Yeah.
But then magic was one of the bigger things that wasn't as acceptable. So, magic was one of those things that was just like, no.
Yeah.
So.
Did it end on there?
I think, let me check it out. Let me see if it ended over here and I can start another.
Like an hour time or something.
Yeah. Let me get another
one set up.
Yeah, let me get another one set up.
I can view this on Instagram too, huh? And see who's viewing and what they're saying.
Yep. So I had 10 people watching over there. This is a secondary one. This is continuing on with the live view over here. Forgive me for that. It only lets me go for like an hour. So, okay. Yeah, so, I lost my track over there.
Well, if I can get my volume to shut off my speakerphone. My bad.
So, yeah, no.
Tisk Apple.
Right. But no, I like it. I like all the 90s. And then the big one that I picked up after all this time, that like my parents watched it for a little bit, and then we started growing up, and then they stopped watching it, and then they started watching it again later on. It was Friends, man. I was like, okay, like Friends was is the shit. Okay, like I got my wife hooked on it. We watched all the episodes, and just like it's one of those things that like if the 90s and early 2000s could just be grouped into one thing, it's just Friends. And it's just like, I don't like sitcoms very much. I don't really like.
I know, right?
I don't like very much of those because it's like always okay, same old. You're making money, like Big Bang Theory and stuff like that. I could tolerate like a season of it,
Or like, I think it all kind of started with Seinfeld. From what I've usually heard, is that was the big shift, and I don't think they maybe got the formula quite right. I mean, it's kind of a cult classic, but they kind of broke the ground for a new way. You hear about Seinfeld a lot when you study philosophy and ethics, because they were postmodernism. It was kind of what they did.
Is that when it first started with postmodernism?
No, not necessarily, but that's when it started. But that was the first time in TV that it was really...
Yeah, no, like the first time when it was broadcast as like an openly acceptable theory.
Where there wasn't really any point to anything, There's no reason, there's no logic, there just is kind of. We don't really know anything, we can't know anything because But I think that trend started, and then you kind of got that sweet spot with Friends, and then it moved on to other stuff like When I Met Your Mother, and
And it kind of trickled down, and then like I watched The Big Bang Theory for a little bit, and it was funny, and then I liked the nerdy aspect of it, and then I was just like, after a little bit, like I don't like the sex jokes that are just continual. Like it's just like, oh, you overuse this like continually.
The meme.
Yeah, but yeah.
True.
They just going right off the bat. They're not even trying.
True.
Right. But I just, like, they could have done, I think, a lot better with it. It's a great TV series over there, but then it just did, in comparison to, like, Friends,
right?
There's something...
all the way to the end.
All the way through. There's parts of it where it was just kind of like, yeah, they did some fillers here and there, but then, like, it was just amazing all the way through. And then I was just like, it gives you all the good, warm, funny feelings. It gives nostalgia, like, where you can have it where it's like, you hear the Friends theme song and you just get like something in your heart where it's just like, ooh, it's on.
I kind of had that for some other shows like Happy Days. Did you ever watch that?
Yeah. Happy Days, man.
And I mean, that's obviously like...
That's 80s, I think.
70s, 80s?
Yeah, maybe? But like with Fonzie.
Yeah, but it's kind of the same thing where you hear the theme song come on and you're just like...
Yeah.
Tuesday,
yeah, exactly.
Happy Day.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I remember that. My mom liked it a lot, so like she would watch it, and then like we watched them all, with Richie,
Like he went to the military or something, right?
Yeah, and it was fun. It was a fun little series that they had over there. The only thing I don't really like about like sitcoms and stuff like that is like for some people they were teaching, what you believe in. Like I believe what I believe because that's what I personally think, and I come with a logical conclusion. But for some people, they actually need other people to tell them what they believe.
What to believe, yeah.
And they use these sitcoms for these, and so like
that can get dangerous though, because I mean these sitcoms aren't meant as like life guides necessarily. They're supposed to be like an escape from life.
Yeah, and there's humor in it too.
Sure. Not that much humor necessarily in life from what I've seen.
No, yeah, it's not as funny. But did y'all ever watch like Family Matters or like?
No.
Okay, well, I like that one too. That one was pretty funny. They would try to pass through with like it's that they got black people over here and they have black sitcoms a lot, and then they were trying really hard for the racial equality time.
Which one was Family Matters?
Family Matters had Urkel.
I did watch a little bit of that. I got in kind of the end of that. We went to like Fry's. Fry's has a lot of those old shows.
Yeah.
We picked up a season of it. And I think we watched most of it, or maybe all of it. I don't remember.
Yeah, I never got into the Bill Cosby show. I could never. Yeah, no. I like his comedy, his old stuff, but I could never really get into his show.
I don't think anyone's getting into him now. They're just like, no, too much baggage for him.
I think it's wrong how they're doing him.
Yeah,
because he still to this day has said he didn't do it like they're saying, and no one has clear evidence that he for sure did it. But yeah, they did. All of them they drank, but how do you know that at that time that it wasn't consensual? Hey, I'm drinking, or hey, yeah, I'm having a bad day. Let me have a pill. That happened. Well, we all know that happens. So, but now is it just, in my opinion, that many women? That's a money grab. That's the thing. Yeah, he did it to me too.
And it could be, but the thing is, they have to kind of find the balance because it's hard to ever find any type of evidence for something like that. So they just have to say, okay, well, what's the reasonable probability? And I haven't looked enough into his case to really know what it is. But it does seem like that happens to a lot of people, especially with this Me Too movement that's been going on. You've been seeing all these guys getting called out. Some of them, I'm sure, deserve to be called out and are scum guys, but I think some of them are guys that didn't actually do anything. Like, I think James Franco, I was looking at him a little bit, and I don't know what the end outcome is, but I was kind of looking at his initial claims, and, like, this one girl said, well, he assaulted me. He's like, well, we were dating, and we were sleeping together, but, I mean, it was consensual. I didn't know that she had a problem with this. I didn't know this until now, basically.
Yeah. Right.
And so, yeah, I think that's where the money grabs come in.
I mean, that's just,
And a lot of them, I'm sure maybe they weren't okay with the situation, but then they were like, it's Bill Cosby.
Yeah, and they said okay. Even if they didn't want to do it and they said okay, then that's still consent.
Yeah, that is still consent.
Even if they weren't happy with it.
And it's like, okay, so that many women are going to say that he took advantage of them, but they didn't say anything to now. Usually someone will eventually
you think
say
one person
something.
would have said something. So it's
right, kind of
it's
like
hard to find the balance.
Like Mike Tyson, when he had all that kind of weird stuff happen, it was like instant. Like she said, like back when he had some problems over there, like that girl that got a little harassed by him or something like that. I mean, she said it like right away. Yeah. It was like it's kind of like I don't even know, like tattletelling. It's like once someone, I don't know. I know there has to be a courage build up for, especially like if you're ever talking with an actor and stuff like that, and you're like, oh, like you want to be thrown under the bus over there and stuff like that. And then if you see other people coming out, then it's easier to come out. But I do see that they do seem to be, I don't know the legitimacy
even
of all
Harvey
of it.
like, okay, I get it. So maybe he wasn't right. But how many of those
ethically no?
How many of those women though did it at the time? Went ahead and did it because they knew if I do it, then it's going to help me get where I need to go. Yep. I do not consider that as being taken advantage because you knew what you were doing and you did it to get to the next level. We all know that happens. Everyone knows that happens, and we just turn a blind eye. So to come about it now like, oh, no, you knew that's the name of the game.
Well, and then you also have to... Here's kind of the other side of it. You look at like the Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky situation. People say, well, that was an abuse of power. And so you have to kind of decide how much influence does someone have to push someone beyond what's beyond the reasonable scope of what you could expect someone to say no to. Because, I mean, if the President of the United States is asking for something, you could say no.
Yeah.
Probably not in her situation.
Right.
For you, me... might be a different situation. I don't know.
So I feel
Don't swing that way.
Yeah, no. I'm like, no, thank you.
But put in that type of position, there's a lot of pressure on you to want to please someone like that, especially if you're already working at the White House. It's kind of your goal and career field. And the president asks you to do something like that, and you're kind of like, well, do I have a choice? I mean, technically, yes, they do have a choice, but then you also have to think, okay, he does have a certain amount of influence and power here. He's the most prestigious person in the world. That has to be affecting her to a point. So it's finding that balance.
Because then in your process, it's like, okay, so if I say yes, it's in my best interest. If you say that, then you give consent.
I'm not saying it wasn't consensual. I'm just saying it's unethical.
I think it's just...
That's not unethical on whose part?
On the president's part for abusing his power to convince her, and I don't know.
We don't put him in the office to go fucking with people.
No, but how do you know he had to convince her to do it?
Well, it seems suspicious because first he lied, he denied it, and then he had to come back and it was.
Well, of course he's gonna deny it.
Every
guy at first is probably gonna deny something like that.
I'm just saying it's kind of the Spider-Man thing with great power comes great responsibility.
True.
So,
but again, everyone's human.
I'm not saying on her part. I don't know the situation well enough to truly speak into it. So I'm not even saying from her perspective whether it was consensual or whether it's not or whether it was ethical. I'm just saying from his perspective, he should have never asked that of her. Right? He should have never let that situation come into play. He's the president of the United States. He's got to be held to a higher standard. I know we have Trump now, so who am I to talk? But
right. Grab her by the,
No, dear Lord.
It's like, come on, dude. Yeah, but no.
But then, okay, so that line, grab her by the... I did not find that offensive.
Of course, because we're not women. Just gonna throw that out there.
Like that is, and he said that's locker room talk. Like we make jokes and like yes, that's inappropriate, but we say stuff like that all the time.
Before,
and we don't mean it. So
but why would he be having locker room
except for
talk?
He has power though. I don't know.
Hey, if I'm a billionaire, I'm a billionaire. I don't care whether you find it offensive, your mother finds it offensive. I got $1 billion. I can, it's almost, yes, you power, but in my mind, it's freedom. I can be who I want to be.
And that was true until he became president of the United States, because now he's responsible to the people.
So now what he says, yes. But before,
he still said plenty of stupid stuff now.
True, I get you. I just think it's some of this stuff is unfair.
Sure, absolutely. I'm not saying that it should.
Because if everyone had a camera on them, every minute of your life, I wouldn't look good. You would, because we all have our demons.
But that's what you're subjecting yourself to whenever you run for the president of the United States. So just be aware.
I think they just
be ready to accept it and apologize.
They just need to act like it did not happen. I think that that happens.
For that one he couldn't because it wasn't recording.
It's that happens.
This whole Stormy Daniels mess. I mean, it seems very likely that he did it.
Yeah.
but you don't really know. Not until he.
Why do people? Okay, that's another. Why do people find that as shocking?
Yeah, I don't find that
His
as shocking.
wife was a porn star.
Yeah.
So to think that he didn't go out with porn stars before her, or even
when they were together,
What wife is this? Like 4? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's you kind of look at the history. History repeats itself.
And so for us, okay, maybe having a sexual relationship while we're married is a no. For some people, they're swingers. That's just how this goes. We're gonna make this work. I got money. You want it? Come on. But I'm gonna go with who I want. So I just to put my morals on someone else. I just don't think that's right.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't take offense with whatever he said either. It's just it's his
person. Who he sleeps with doesn't affect me.
Yeah. No, and then at the same time, it's I watch to see what they do when they're in the position that they're in, and if they use it for I don't really like how Bill Clinton used his power over there with that whole situation over there, because you are kept at a higher authority. But anything before that, I don't really give 2 fucks. I don't really care.
Yeah.
I don't really care what he did back then. It's up to the point where he gets up to the presidency. Yes, you can check to see for his validate his life over there a little bit.
But it also kind of shows the character and who the character of your leader is going to be. So I mean, it's something that should at least be considered. I'm not saying it has to be the
held
absolute,
against.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be the absolute judge, because people make mistakes, and especially someone in his position, he's extreme publicity all the time, and he wasn't a politician, so he wasn't necessarily trying to maintain PR the whole time. I mean, like you said, he's a billionaire. He didn't care. I mean, he did what he did. So that kind of put him at a disadvantage, because a lot of these long-term politicians, career politicians that have been doing this for 30, 40 years before they try to run for office like that, they know how to play the game. They've already kind of put themselves down. They cleaned up their past, whatever. They've addressed all the back stuff. For most part, they're not going to...
They swept it all underneath the rug like Hillary did, Just kind of it's clean.
But it's interesting. It's where do you find that balance? Because I mean, does some of that take away the blame from someone, Monica Lewinsky's situation? Some would say yes, some would say no. But in reality, does it? I mean, I don't know. It's.
I mean, I just don't like that he didn't get out of office, that whole entire thing.
Close. He was 1 or 2 votes away, I think, from impeachment.
Yeah, I think he was supposed to be impeached. Maybe, no. I think he was impeached, but he just never left.
Well, it was voted, and he didn't get impeached. He was prosecuted.
Didn't he resign? I feel like he did something where they just didn't feel like they had to impeach him.
I think it was just because it was the very ending.
Yeah, it was by the end.
Yeah, I think that was part of it. I think he was at the end of his term.
They're kind of face to a degree.
But the dude's still doing stuff, man. The dude's still over there in the corner. He's still Okay, did y'all watch the Zuckerberg?
No, but I watched some excerpts from.
Yeah. Did you see the Senate that he was talking to, or the people he was talking to?
They seemed a little...
They seemed real out of touch of what he was talking about. That would have irritated me to death. Having to talk to those people.
Mr. Zuckerman.
They're like, Mr. Zuckerman, do you
his name
know...
Zuckerberg. It's just dude, you can't even get his name right.
It's do you know what hotel you went to and could you let us know? I'm like, oh my gosh, just how he's talking is not even... Just this guy wants to speed talk, and then you're just slowing him down. And it was hilarious to watch.
Of course, Zuckerberg isn't exactly chatty.
He's an asshole.
He is, but he's not chatty is the thing. So I mean, he'll sit there and he's just kind of staring blankly, kind of stumbling out across his words a little bit. But I mean, what he was saying for the most part, from what I saw from the perspectives I got. Though. I mean, he's basically saying the best things that he can. I mean, he's trying to put up a situation. We were wrong.
Covering his ass the whole time.
Maybe some stuff needs to be regulated. We're making changes. A lot of the stuff that you already wanted is there. It's just maybe not as forefront as you want. So.
Well, I mean, that's what I don't get either. It's with Facebook and stuff like that. Topic change. With Facebook and stuff like that. I cover my ass. I know how to cover. It's not very difficult. I don't have any cookies on my computer. I don't have anything that's tracking me. I have Facebook, yes, but like their ads don't make any sense because they don't know who I am. And then I have a VPN where it's just like I'm switching where I am all the time.
Yeah, it's just
it's like there's ways of getting around it. And then like you don't have to use their service.
Yeah, it's a free service. It's an optional service. It's not something that is probably essential for anything. I mean, my college was trying to get me to get a Facebook account. I don't have Facebook, but yeah.
There we go. Bam.
Yeah.
No offense to you Facebookers over here.
Yeah, sorry, Facebook live stream.
Instagram rocks.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. Totally lost my thought. Something about Facebook, but my college was trying to get me to get Facebook. They're trying to make me join this group or something. I was like, can I just skip it? And they're like, they don't want you to, but okay.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, just get some guy to be like, just text me what's going on.
Basically. I mean, it was like a discussion forum, so when you'd be engaged. I think I actually just opted out of it.
Nice. Well, I'm going to close the podcast off now over here. So with that, the best 90s, early 2000s, I believe, in probably all of our opinions, is probably going to be good old Friends, the TV series. I just love that show. We have a special bond with it. My best friend Eric and I have a special bond with it. My wife and I have a special bond with it. It just kind of like it just goes with everything. And
what's your favorite line from Friends?
Favorite line? We were on break.
That one. Yes, that one. And hey, how you doing?
Oh yeah. Well, I'm not a ladies' man, so
No, but
I'm stuck on the one.
Dude, Joey though. Joey is every man inside. Like really deep down, we're all Joey, and I just love it. It's like yes.
Like there's certain people that hold it back a lot better, but yeah, no, it's just like we're just animals. We're just
deep
animals
down,
on the inside.
Joey.
Like,
yeah,
we're just like.
and then Chandler is the reserved us. It'd be like
the very far left,
the sensitive and cynical and
yeah, quick-witted a little bit, and a little bit caring though, but
Ross is the guy we don't want to be.
Ross is the guy that like he's that friend that you always have, and everyone has to have one of them, where it's just like they are sickness, and they hold on to as much as they can take down with them.
I know who my friend is.
Everyone has one, and it's just like it's sad though.
Okay. I just figured out who my Ross is.
Yeah. So it's just like people like that where it's just like it's just like
it's kind of
the woe is me type thing.
Think Eeyore.
Yeah, just like dopey and just like and then not having
Did
very
you know
much.
that all the Eeyore characters are based off of different mental disorders?
Dude, Pooh Bear was one of I love Pooh Bear.
Pooh Bear is eating disorder. Tigger was ADHD. Eeyore was depression. I think Al was dyslexia, maybe. I can't remember all of them, but yeah, if you look at them.
And then Rabbit was like
cool.
ADD or something like that. Cause
no,
it's just like,
I can't remember what.
OCD.
Yeah, I think Rabbit might have been OCD.
Yeah. So it's just like, they're all just disorderly people in this 100-acre woods.
And then supposedly Christopher Robin was supposed to be schizophrenic because he's talking to all his toys.
Yeah. Makes you think of it differently now.
Yeah, it's like, there goes my childhood.
Right?
Pooh Bear's over there just talking to a schizophrenic boy,
Yeah.
Oh, fun stuff.
Yeah, good times.
Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for coming to the broadcast. Hope you enjoyed every single bit of it. I've got it now live on both Facebook and Instagram over here, so thank you for tuning in on Instagram over here. I can see a couple of people over here. We had 2 streams over here because we didn't have enough time for it over here, so that was nice. And stay tuned because I'll be cranking out more episodes. I'll be getting new people, new zany people over here. Hopefully Andrew will become more of a usual person coming out here. We got Jared out here for all 3 of them already now, so you can't miss him now. It's going to be now the Darian Jackson and Jared Dubon show over here. So and then I think you're going to start doing some motivational speaking here.
I try to branch out a little
so now once he gets all that all set up over here, I'll be sending you off all his information over here too, so you can get all motivated all up over there. I know he does a lot of Snapchat type stuff too, so And then if Andrew ever hits up anything online or anything like that, I'll be sending off all of his links over there too. So stay tuned for the next episodes, and looking to try to get a kind of setup where every Friday I'll be hitting this up, nighttime type thing. It just seems to be where everyone's like, pretty much off at that time, and it's a very good time to get over there. So we'll try to make it every Friday. I'm going to try to make it out with a couple other people over here. I still haven't got my best friend on here, Eric Hughesby, yet, so I'm going to get him over here. He's out right now, or else he probably would be here. So this one's for you, man, and y'all have a good night.